welcome to the tea table. We are going to finish out the year by looking at what could possibly be the new best deck in Expanded, Regidrago VSTAR. So, if you're familiar with Regidrago VSTAR in Standard, you know that the card itself is pretty good. But the selection of Dragon Pokemon, kinda average. If you notice here, only one Standard Dragon Pokemon other than Regidrago itself has made it into this deck list. Obviously there's one card I do not have. It's just because I could not acquire it to play some games I really wanted to, but still able to do the deck profile, and we'll talk about that when we get to that card. But let us review Regidrago, what makes it crazy, and why it is up there with the best deck. So, you got the 4 Regidrago Vs. Celestial Ward, discard the top 3 cards for any earned energy. Attach on your Pokemon. Not bad, it's fine. Dragon Laser, 130. 31 your opponent's bench. You don't really want to be doing this, but, you know, sometimes you do what you gotta do. Then we got the V-Star. Apex Dragon. Choose an attack from a Dragon Pokemon in your discard pile and use it as this attack. And your once-a-game V-Star power. During your turn, you may discard the top 7 cards of your deck. Put up to 2 of those into your hand. So, cards from your discard pile. So it doesn't have to be the 7 you discarded. If you already have like 4 or 5 cards, you could choose from those as well. So, basically, it almost, I'm not gonna say guarantees, but you're getting pretty good odds on attacking, in the second turn of the game with Regidrago. So let us look at the Dragon Pokemon, and then we'll look at the other support Pokemon. So you start with Dialga-GX. Now you get 1 GX attack a game. So you get 1 V-Star game, 1 GX game. We got Overclock, draw cards until you have 6. Shred, not affected by anything your opponent's active, which is pretty good. If you run into any cards that might stop you from doing things in Expanded. But you got Timeless GX. Take another turn. So the cool thing about Regidrago is it takes 3 energy to copy the attack. You don't have to have 5 energy to do this, so you could just take another turn. I'm able to attack with Regidrago. I will take another turn and bop you from there. So that's really sick. We got Rayquaza-EX, Mega Rayquaza-EX, excuse me. Beautiful card. 300 for 5. Discard 2 energy. So basically 300 for 3. Using Regidrago, discard 2 energy. That's pretty good. That's just like, wow, that's crazy. You want to put your threat up there before your opponent can do anything. Boom. 300. Get it out of the way. We got Noivern-GX. Distort, the big attack. One of the big attacks on this card. All parts of this card are good. 50, and your opponent can't play items. In Expanded, that is pretty huge. Not letting your opponents play items is like a lot. If you're not familiar with Expanded, you're playing a lot of items. So that is great. Against a wide variety of decks, mostly. If your opponent gets a slow start and you're able to distort, that's pretty crazy, and you get them. Then we have Sonic Volume. Your opponent can't play any special on your card from the hand during their next turn. So oddly enough, let's say your opponent misses a turn 2 Regidrago attack with their special energy, which we'll talk about at the end of the video. You do this, boom, your opponent can't attach. Pretty good. Or if you, like, let's just randomly hit a Mad Party or something like wacky like that, boom, your opponent cannot play special energy. I don't know if it's as big now because, like, you have Shadow Rider that's good. Palkia's been putting up some results, so don't use special energy, but Distort is really, really good. And your random GX attack, 50 to each opponent's Pokemon. So you're like, okay, maybe if you haven't GX'd, that is pretty good to do, and you can get a quick dub there. Then we got Goodra V-Star to run up the Dragons. Obviously, we know this one from Standard. 200, takes 80 less next turn. Sometimes you just gotta tank out to get another turn, to probably another Regidrago, or, you know, just get them. Or you're facing a deck that, like, has a cool strategy but doesn't pump out a lot of damage. So you're just like, okay, take 80 less. That's crazy. You're not getting me. So those are the Dragons. Let's right now look at the other Pokemon. We all know Crobat V. When you play from your hand, draw until you have 6. And usually in Expanded, you're going to pair your Crobat V with a Dedenne-GX, which does the same thing, except you discard your hand first and draw until you have 6, which is great, as you want your Dragon Pokemon in your discard pile. Then we got Tapu Lele-GX. which is just the same as Lumineon when you play it for a Hamster supporter, and it does have Energy Drive 20 times the amount of energy attached to both active. This card was busted if you played with it at all when we had like double colorless, which was just 2 colorless, no drawbacks, so like double turbo, but better. Then we got a few one-ups here. We got Oricorio. Love this card. When you play from your hand, search your deck for 2 basic energy. So you don't play a lot of energy in this deck. You only play 8. So you're going to need to get it. You search it out. Search 2 basic energy. Get your turn 2 attack going. We got Wobbuffet here. Has a couple different printings. We're going with this one here. As long as it's active, each Pokemon in play, in each player's hand and each player's discard has no abilities except for Psychic Pokemon. So if your opponent's got, you're looking like your opponent's got a weird combo thing going on and you need to stall for a turn, you pop Wobbuffet, but you're still able to do Tapu Lele to try and establish really cool. And sometimes just opening a Wobbuffet, your opponent just loses. You're like, well, can't be that Wobbuffet. Then we run out with Trubbish. Put a card for your discard on top of your deck, not even bad. But then we got Garbodor, one of the all-time classic cards here. Garbotoxin. If this Pokemon has a tool, each Pokemon in play, each player's hand and discard pile has no abilities except for Garbotoxin. So it's kind of like Galarian Weezing now, but it doesn't have to be active. It just has to have a tool. And then imagine you're doing that, right? You distort. Your opponent can't play any items, which we'll talk in a second, to get rid of your tool, and you're just sitting pretty and winning the game. So let us move to the items here. We got Battle Compressor. Search for 3 cards. Put them in your discard pile. You don't have to put 3. You got to put at least 1. But most of the time, you're like, boom, let me put my dragons I want to use in this card pile. Or possibly a supporter for the Versus Seeker we'll talk about there to get going. But you just like, well, alright, I put my Rayquaza, my Noivern, my Dialga discard pile. That's crazy. I'm already doing it. Then we got Field Blower. Choose up to 2 in any combination of tools and stadiums in play, yours or your opponent's, and discard them. So, let's say your opponent's got their own Garbotoxin before you're able to use Dedenne or use your V-Star. You Field Blower that, use your V-Star. You get your own tool. You allow for your opponent. Also, any stadium. So, if you're facing a Path to the Peak, perhaps, which is just shutting you down because you couldn't use that, you can't use Tapu Lele Dedenne. Get that going. We got the one Hisuian Heavy Ball. Sorry about that. Obviously, looking for some prizes reveal the basic. So, with the amount of 1 of basics, it's not so much important, I feel like, to get your Dedenne because you're a Crobat. Or maybe with your Oricorio or Trubbish, I really just need to do that Wobbuffet turn 1. So, obviously, a good card. Then we got Mysterious Treasure, which insanely shines in this deck. Discard a card, perhaps one of those Dragon Pokemon. Search your deck for a Psychic or Dragon Pokemon and reveal and put your hand. So that gets every Pokemon in your deck except for this Crobat and this Dedenne. So getting 16 out of the 18 Pokemon you have in your deck is pretty insane. So, I mean, the card's just busted. That's why you play 4 of them. I mean, just pretty self-explanatory how it gets all the stuff out of your deck. Then we move to Pokemon Communication. You reveal a Pokemon, put it back in your deck, get a different Pokemon. Really great there. Pretty just a good card. Does kind of combo to save cards with the Dedenne if you want to, like, alright, I don't have Regidrago to evolve. You know, like, I already have Regidrago, but it's turn 1. I want to put the V-Star back in my deck, and then you switch it. You get, like, Rayquaza, discarded. Boom, card's great. Obviously, got the 4 Quick Ball discard to get a basic. We got Rescue Stretcher, which is a sick card. Put a Pokemon card in your disc pile in your hand, or shuffle 3 into your deck. Realistically, you're probably just going to put 1 back in your hand, so it helps you if you had to discard something, like with a Dedenne, or maybe you had a Quick Ball turn 1, or Treasure, and you had to discard Garb, and then you got Trubbish and all that, and you're good to go. So then we couldn't get the card for this deck to play, because this is like 50 packs at the moment I'm filming this. Scoop up Cyclone. Just put a Pokemon all cards back in your hand. So, this is really good, because you're just going to pick anything. So, let you reuse Crobat, reuse Dedenne, reuse, like, whatever. Or if it's a long, grindy game and you got 1 Regidrago powered up and you kind of got a second one and you just pick it up, bring up a fresh one, and your opponent says, wow, that's really bad for me. So, like, if you're doing the Goodra plan and it's going to take them, like, 3 hits and they get the second hit on, you're like, whoops, just kidding. Then you hit them with the new Regidrago and you're good to go. Then we got 4 Versus Seeker. Put a supporter card from this call in your hand, which does combo with Battle Compressor. So if your turn 1 hand has a VSTAR, but not really good, you can Battle Compressor a supporter and then get it back, and you are on your way. Then we got Chaotic Swell. When this card was in standard, this card was annoying. Gosh, this card was so annoying. Whenever either player plays a stadium from their hand, discard that stadium after discarding this card. The new stadium card has no effect. And you can only play one stadium in turn. So you pop out the Chaotic Swell against me, and I'm like, alright, I got those paths to the peak, and I don't have like Field Blower like you saw there. I play path, they go away, and I can't play a stadium this turn. So I had to waste a turn and one of my stadiums to get rid of Chaotic Swell. This card was very annoying. Obviously, it's just another reason people play Field Blower, because you'll be able to get rid of this to play your stadium of your choice in your deck. And gosh, this card was just so annoying. Anybody who plays Chaotic Swell just knew you're like, alright, I got, X card to shut something down. Just kidding. And, yeah, your opponent laughed at you. Let's move to supporters. We got the boy, Guzma. Switch one of your bench Pokemon with their active. If you do, switch your active with one of your bench. So basically, you choose one of theirs to bring up, and then you bring up a new one on your own. It's like Cross Switcher, but a supporter. We got Marnie. We all know Marnie. Each player shuffles their hand, puts it on the bottom. They draw 4, you draw 5. We got N. Each player shuffles their hand in their deck and draws a card equal to how many prizes they have remaining. So, if you have to do a turn 1 to get 6, that's fine. But, let's say you're down like 5 to 1, 4 to 1. You give your opponent a 1-card hand. You knock out their only attacker. Or imagine you give them a 1-card hand and you slap on the tool. Give them a 1-card hand and you just store the can't play items or whatever you need for your turn. Really, really good. We got Pokémon Ranger. Remove all effects of attack on each player and their Pokemon. So the reason this card is good, we will look at. So this card's good because there are various Pokemon that do things like, I take, like Goodra. I don't take any less. But it is mainly for Arceus, Dialga, Palkia Tag Team GX, whose Alter Creation GX says for the rest of the game, your Pokemon attacks do 30 more, and you take another prize when you knock something out. Oops. Which means you would knock out Dedenne, take 3 prizes. Easy. Knock out this Wobbuffet, take 2 prizes. So most of the strategy will be go to after your EX, GX, V that are really easy to KO and be like, oh, just took 3 prizes off that. That's crazy. Even if you're like, I'm going to sacrifice my Oricorio. Nope, that's 2 prizes. So, mainly in there to stop that. Obviously, there are a bunch of other good cards because it's expanded. But if your opponent does ADP GX's attack Alter Creation turn 1, and you don't have an insane turn 2 like Rayquaza, maybe, to knock him out, Pokemon Ranger is the way to go. Because it removes that effect, and your opponent wishes their GX deck. So that's pretty cool. We got the 2 Professor Sycamore, which is just Professor's Research. Discard your hand, draw 7. We got Raihan, because you do take 3 energy to attack, so Raihan does help you get in there to attack that one turn. Out of nowhere, as it does in standard. Very good card. We got 4 Floatstone. Air Balloon wishes it was this rock. The Pokemon this card is attached to has no retreat cost. So this floating stone gives you less retreat cost than a balloon. Probably. So it's really good. Literally the same thing to be able to treat. There are 4 because, you got some wacky Pokemon like Dialga and stuff you don't want to start with. And it's really good because you do the Wobbuffet retreat, but also the Garb. So if they can't Boss's Order or Guzma to stall a turn because you just have Floatstone and retreat for free. We got Muscle Band. So expanded having EX, GX, V. No one of those buffs are great because you never know what your opponent's going to be having. So Muscle Band, you just do 20 more. Just simple. It doesn't matter what they are. I got choice about, but they're a V, or whatever. I got choice band, whatever choice you got, that they've made. This is just more 20. It's pretty great. Then we got 2 fire, 2 grass, and then we got double dragon energy. This card can only be attached to a dragon. If it is not, you discard it. It provides 2 of anything. So, what you're going to want to do, if you can, is your turn 1, you want to attach fire or grass. Because there are a lot of good played removal of special energy cards in Expanded. Obviously there's Question Camera, but there's like Enhanced Hammer, which just discards one. Faba puts in the lasso. Like, there are ways, you know, to discard them pretty easily. So you're going to attach the grass, and then boom, you attach the Double Dragon, and then you're able to use any attack in your deck, because you'll have 3. It's also good, Raihan, boom, get your grass fire. Search for Double Dragon if you need it, or whatever you're missing. So obviously, it's a great power-up. Instant power-up for your Pokemon. It lets you do what you want. So with that being said, I think Regidrago's been doing really good. I checked online tournaments. It's up there. It's popping up there. Like, there's this top 8, and it was half of it. Like, you just look at expanded events on Limitless, and you're just like, wow, look at all of those Regidragos just popping up out of nowhere. So it's pretty cool. This particular list, I believe, let me double check. Because there are different variations, because you play different Dragon Pokemon. Some people have played, like, Duraludon to get around, you know, like, effects that can't attack anything. Obviously, they don't have to worry about anything. But this was played by Hiroki. They went 7-1 in this event. They won every Regidrago mare they played. So that was kind of cool. I'm looking at the other ones they played. I mean, it looks like other people were playing Duraludon. They said, no. I don't want that in my deck. So, but the lists are pretty similar, you know, all around. Because there are the best Dragon Pokemon like Noivern, Rayquaza, Dialga, Goodra. And then you kind of do whatever. But with that being said, that was some Regidrago. I'm Josh Hatter. This is the T-Table. My next set of videos, I might take a week or 2 off because I got some personal things to tend to. But this is my last video of 2022. We will be back, possibly previewing before it comes out, some Crown Zenith decks that I am looking forward to, and a lot of them probably will play Radiant Eternatus. So I will see everybody in 2023.